Hello and welcome to LearningEngineer.com, where we engineer learning for efficiency. My name is Michael Langdon, and one of the things I wanted to show you today was how to start and write an essay. And the first thing I'm doing here is actually taking you to my Learning Engineer website, which is again at LearningEngineer.com. And you'll see here that I have up a good writing checklist, and you can take a look at this if you want. Here's another copy of it here. And what it does is it basically takes you through 3 steps: before writing, during writing, and after writing. And it just asks a series of questions, 6, 3, and 5 questions under each about your writing. And I originally got this idea from reading Atul Gawande's, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, book Checklist Manifesto, which is an excellent book and I recommend it to anyone. So the first thing I want to do is go through an essay. Now the first part of the essay is asking a question. And one of the things I like to do is teach students how to rewrite things all the time, because there's no reason for you to reinvent the wheel, and a lot of academic writing is simply rewriting a format from one person's format to your format. So you take the same format, you simply change the information and make it your own. So we start with asking a question. So what I did is I went to Time magazine and I saw this: should kids be bribed to do well in school? So I'm just going to take that and copy that and move that over to my essay document, and where I'll hit Control V. So there it is. Should kids be bribed to do well in school? Now we can rewrite this question to be should children, because technically if you're in the field of education, you're not supposed to refer to children as kids, be rewarded to get, we could say, A's. We could write should students be paid to get good grades? Should school pay students to do well? So you can see I just, in a matter of a few minutes, I wrote 3. Okay, so you can go with any of those. And the next we have to come up with a thesis statement. And that's basically yes I do, or no I don't. And so I'm going to say I don't think they should. So I don't think, or I should say I do not. I do not think students should be paid for getting good grades, because, and the because part is the important part, because this is how we're going to derive our next paragraph. So if I have 2 items, or obviously I'm going to have 2 paragraphs, at least 2 paragraphs. If I'm going to do 3, then there'll be 3. Now remember, this is just a really rough draft, so it's not going to be perfect. So I'm going to say I do not think students should be paid for getting good grades, because doing so would devalue education, let's say, actually demotivates and doesn't work. Okay, so that's my thesis statement. Now I need an introduction. Now one of the things we could do is we could go back to the Time magazine article and see what they do. How do they do the introduction? So let's go back there for a second. So we have, should kids be bribed to do well in school? And we can go down here and it says, in junior high school, one of my classmates had a TV addiction back before it was normal. This boy, we'll call him Ethan, was an encyclopedia of vacuous content, from the A-Team to Who's the Boss. Now that content may seem vacuous, but you could end up winning on Jeopardy with that information. Then one day Ethan's mother made him a bold offer. If he could go a full month without watching any TV, she would give him $200. None of us thought he could do it, but Ethan quit TV just like that. His friends offered to let him cheat at their houses on Friday nights. Ethan says no, which only proves that Ethan wasn't really an addict because he could quit. 1 month later, Ethan's mom paid him $200. He went out and bought a TV. Yeah, the biggest one he could find. So basically, it's like an example, a description of an example of someone she knew. So that's how we could start it. We could give an example of our own. I'm not going to do that, though. I'm just going to start out with the question, which is always a good way to start. So I could simply start with, do you think it is a good idea to pay students to do well in school? Well, if you said yes, you are not alone. Every day, we'll say, parents, teachers, and doctors dole out candy to get children to behave the way they want. In schools, educators, we'll call them. There's pass out candy, cookies, gold stars, stickers, and good grades, like so many paychecks. Checks, we'll say. However, I do not think students should be paid. Well, here, I'll just copy and paste this. Let's see. However, I do not think students should be paid for getting good grades because doing so would devalue education, actually demotivates, and doesn't work. So that's that one. Now, if we had said, I do think students should be paid for getting good grades because doing so would devalue education, or because, and then I would have my 3 reasons for that. Instead of using however, we should say, we would use therefore. So there's several different ways you can do this. Instead of doing however, we can also say on the other hand. So there's all kinds of transitional phrases that you can use to do this. Okay, so that's the first part. Now in the next video, I'll kind of take you through the next part of doing your paragraph. So important to remember though, we will have 3 paragraphs. We'll have one on devaluing education, one on demotivating, and the last one on why it doesn't really work. So that's it.